Hi class, let's take a look at example 3. And in this example, they're giving us a graph. So let me just do A here on the side. And the first portion that they want is f of 4. So this is f of 4. Remember that x here represents 4. So at 4, you technically have the following in terms of a coordinate point. So this is x is 4. Remember that these are your x's. These are your y's, your domain, and your range. At 4, we're going to have this value here. So in this case, this coordinate point is going to be -3. So for this one, we would say that f of 4 is equal to -3. And for these problems, we're basically not solving algebraically. We're just looking at the actual graph. So in this case, for x is equal to 4, this is 4, and then you only have one output, which happens to be -3. That's it for A. For B, they're asking for the following. Look at the function and find out all the x's that will give you a y of 1. Remember that technically y represents f of x. So in this case, we're looking at your y values that happen to be 1. Remember, these are your y's. So that would be 1 here and then another one there. So in this case, we would say that f of x. So f of x is equal to 1 when we have x is equal to this value here, -6, or x is equal to this value here, which is 0. So same idea of what we did on the previous problems, but here we're not using algebra. We're just looking at the sketch. In this case, your function is 1 when your x is 0 and your x is equal to -6. They don't want them as coordinate points. That's all they're asking for on problem 3. Let's move on to problem 4, which is also another graph. And here the graph got a little bit distorted, but let me actually write it here. So A, they want f of -1. So f of -1, remember that this represents x is equal to -1. So in this case, we're going to be looking at the x's. -1 is here in the x's. That would be this value here, which represents 1. As I said, it's a little bit distorted. In this case, f of -1 is equal to 1. So your function when x is equal to -1, your y value, it's 1. That's it for A. B, on B, we're asking where is your function 3 for the y values. Remember that y is equal to f of x. And in this case, we're going to be looking at 3. 3, it's here, and it's going to be this point here. So technically 6. So let me write it as f of x is equal to 3 when x is equal to 6. At x is equal to 6, your function is at 3. And like I said, it's an approximate value because the image got a little bit distorted once I made it into a PDF. But here you can see that when x is equal to 6, your y value is 3. When x is equal to -1, your y value is 1. So f of -1 is equal to 1. F of x is equal to 3 when x is equal to 6. That's it for problem 3 and 4. I'll put the rest of them on a different video, but I think we reached the end of this lecture.